So this is
All
a
right.
very exciting episode of the Northern Nerdcast. Drew has opened up his channel on Twitch, so welcome to the show. And we're going to be talking about microtransactions. And this is something that I absolutely hate with a passion. But I've brought all the experts in, minus Clayton. He's late to the party yet again. He'll come on when he comes on. He's probably having dinner. So again, Drew, thanks for having us on the channel as well. But I wanted to thank you and Nate for coming on. I know we've wanted to talk about doing this for a while, and Adam's always ready to jump on whenever it's something gaming related. So
awesome. Thanks for having us.
No problem. What is your take on microtransactions? Like I've had so many people saying it's not gambling. I think it's gambling. And the reason that I'm saying that is I read that somebody, like you're talking about Bubble Witch and all these things, like these are games. You're buying microtransactions to beat the levels and stuff, but somebody spent $150,000 on a Transformers mobile game. Like that is crazy. That is gambling. There's no other word for that.
Well, as soon as there are loot boxes involved, it's 100% gambling. There's no going around it. Like
Yeah.
you're spending money on the chance, on the hope to get that bigger prize. So there's no way around it, man. Like EA, as of late, like a few months ago, they were trying to say that it's like Kinder surprises. That's what they were comparing loot boxes to. Like they're just trying so hard to hold on to it, because as soon as it's gambling, there's a lot of money involved with that. There's all sorts of regulations and stuff, which, man, they need to implement, because kids, like the biggest thing is kids are the ones that are spending the money. And that's not really the kids, that's the parents, but you know what I mean? It's just the kids have access to this, and that's just, it blows me away that it's gone from what it was, 10, 15 years ago to where it's at now.
And there's no settings. Like, well, I mean, I'm sure there are, but parents don't think about stuff like that because they trust their kids. Oh, my kid would never ever do something like that. But it's oldest,
tempting. It is enticing.
Like, so you talk about microtransactions and stuff, and the biggest offender right now is this stupid game called Roblox. And like, so she's come down, she's like, can you put your password in? I'm like, why?
No.
Well, because I can buy this for 99 cents. And I'm like, what is it? Oh, it's a road. Like, you want a fucking road for 99 cents? Like, no, you earn that money yourself. And like, I say no. She goes and asks my wife, and my wife just puts the password in. I'm like, you just authorized a sale. Oh, Brooke, get down here. No, I'm turning that off right now. Like it's crazy.
It's nuts to see how far microtransactions have come. If you look at GTA Online, they make billions every year because of the microtransactions, right? Like that keeps that game alive. That game is massive already on its own. Everybody under the sun at this point should own that game at some, I own it, I think 3 different times. Like it's just stupid.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like it's on every freaking platform I own. And it just people keep going on and they keep buying more. My nephew spent over $100 on Clash of Clans, just because it was just that easy, right?
I'm guilty.
See, way to go, Nate.
In the past,
but it's so easy, right? That's the thing. They set it up to be just a click of a button, and it just keeps rolling. We saw Battlefield come out at EA, right? Not Battlefield, Battlefront, the Star Wars Battlefront, and that was littered with microtransactions and pay to win. And that game struggled, and the fans were just livid to the point where now they came out and took all that stuff away, or at least toned it down significantly. And now a lot of the developers will come out and they'll go, no microtransactions. Like we just got Outriders. There's no microtransactions in that at all, which is rare to see these days, because when a game launches, it comes with a day one patch, and it always comes with other stuff you can buy. If you go onto the Ubisoft games, there is a list of, you go on to Assassin's Creed, you can buy new costumes, you can buy different skins, you can buy what they call it, like Helix points that you go in and spend and then upgrade your gear. And it's just like, I got a buddy. I was talking to a buddy of mine there not too long ago. He said every time he buys a new Assassin's Creed game, he drops an extra $50 on those Helix points and upgrades his character so he can just kind of plow through the first of it and not have to worry about struggling to get there. Right? It's there because they make a ton of freaking money on it.
It is bogus, man. It's bogus on RPGs to just throw that like.
Well, you
time savers. What?
You talk about
gosh.
Talking about microtransactions like Genshin Impact. That's all that is. That's a microtransaction. The base game is amazing. It's so much fun. But
what do you think about free to play games?
Well, that's just it, right?
Like I think if there's free to play and then it's like you pay for a certain amount of currency and then there's no sort of loot box system. You're not paying for a chance. You're just paying for exactly what you get. A battle pass, skins, cosmetics, all that. That's fine. That doesn't really bug me. Like Vigor's this free-to-play game that I've been playing lately, and it's awesome. They kind of have a interesting microtransaction system, but that's kind of how they sustain themselves is by making money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the one thing to break down is the differences between the microtransactions where there's loot boxes and then just generalized microtransactions where there's different forms of DLC. And I mean, like having different skins, costumes, you want to make your AK-47 pink or camo or anything like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that stuff doesn't necessarily bother me. It's not something I usually subscribe to myself. I've played Fortnite handfuls of times and won matches, and I haven't spent $1 on the game. And like things like that, I don't have a necessary issue with. As you've all really mined over here, the loot boxes are the real issue. And like Drew was saying there with Battlefront 2, it was either grind like 70 or 80 hours just to get like Luke Skywalker and then for Vader or something like that. So you're like 150 hours in the game or whatever it was, something like that. Or you can start doing these series of microtransactions with a chance to unlock them and then not necessarily get it. So, okay, well, those couple dollars went, so I'll just do another. Like the one thing, like Nate, you were saying, I don't agree at all with the whole Kinder Surprise thing, but it makes me laugh at when we were kids. Everybody used to go up and throw a quarter in the machine and you get the little pot ball thing and you were like, what did I get? What stickers did I get? Did I get Mario? I got Yoshi this time, or the little rings or whatever. You don't know what you were going to get, but that effectively was loot boxes in its original form. Yeah. But the difference was you had to hammer through a fistful of quarters, and as you're watching your tiny little child's wallet get smaller and smaller, it's kicking in here, right? So whereas as Drew was saying, now it's just I just got to push A again. And now all of a sudden
click of a couple buttons.
Exactly, just transaction. And even like Brad was saying, like the kids going after it. Like there was a story easy 10 years ago now about a dad finding out he had a $750 FIFA bill and saying like, what am I going to do here? Because his kid was trying to build the dream team and was just going after another loot box and running up the tallies. And, ultimately, I don't think they sided on him. They said, we have a series of ways you can password protect your account. That's on you, Dad. So, you know what I mean?
Which EA, by the way, has they do not shove it in your face at all. You really have to find the way to add those privacy settings on. That's one thing I've noticed. Because they do have them there, but man, you got to really dig for them.
Microtransactions make money. That's the biggest thing, right? That's what they all drive for, especially when you talk about free to play, because it's so wide open. Those guys need to get those servers up and running and stay vital somehow. How do you do that? You introduce some kind of microtransaction. I support battle passes if they're done correctly. Like Nate was saying, Vigor. I think Vigor is fantastic. Obviously, Fortnite is doing nothing wrong whatsoever because they're making hand over fist over there. But the problem is with Fortnite is you get a battle pass and then they drop a new skin every single day too. And then a couple other skins and a couple more skins. And it's a constant loop. And that's where they keep going, where they made so much money at this point. It's just like, it's killer to see how much money they're making on microtransactions.
Yeah. And just to bring Clayton in on this, cause he just came on, but he's got the best story ever with his favorite game of all time called Asura's Wrath. And we're doing after dark, so you can we're actually live right now on Twitch, so
It's all good.
like the end of the game, actually I'll let Clayton explain it because he loves it so much that take it away, Clayton.
So yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
So the first, so you can buy the retail version of Ashura's Wrath from Capcom on disc. But when you get to the end of the game, it's only I think 9 or 10 chapters long, and it's a long enough game, whatever. But I was confused about it because the ending to the game isn't really an ending; it sort of just drops off. And then I found out that the last 3 or 4 chapters are actually locked behind DLC. And you don't, if you want the end of the game, you have to buy it. They never came out with a Game of the Year edition. They never came out with any kind of a complete edition or anything like that. And to this day, you still have to go on to Xbox Live or PlayStation or whatever and actually buy it. So it's like, well, I paid $60-$70 for the game at the time at launch, got 3/4 of a game, and then got shafted for another $20 or whatever it was.
That's crazy.
And
I've never heard of something like that.
I know, and the worst part about it was that it was actually a really good game, and it was just such a disappointment. It was I felt so shafted. Like I felt like,
Was that a full price game too? Full price, $80?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Yes,
I don't remember exactly when I
59
bought
or
it, but
69.
Yeah.
Dang.
Which circling back, now that the PS3 is winding up shop with the eShop in June, you'll never be able to buy that final chapter now.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the thing going around about bringing back Sean Layden for PlayStation? Because everybody right now is so upset with PlayStation and Jim Ryan taking over, then shutting down the stores and just basically not caring about the history of what's online, that everybody wants Sean Layden to come back. And then it was just blasted over the last few days over on Twitter.
I feel like developers are like, why would I want to put a game on there where in like 10, 15 years, they're just going to close the store and no one can buy it. You know what I mean? Like I think I just saw recently, man, the most expensive, you guys will care about this more on the NGE side of things, but the most expensive Super Mario edition was ever sold. It was like $600,000 and it was still in like the plastic case, and it was like the 4th edition, and there was only like a select amount of made. So anyways, it's just crazy.
See, but that's where Nintendo's smart, like, and Microsoft is there, like, and even Microsoft threw shade at Sony by when they were talking about wanting to preserve games, and it's like, oh,
well,
shots fired. But it's just, yeah. That's a whole other podcast. Just my absolute sadness about Sony just not giving a shit about their fans.
Adam started derailing this. I just kind of followed up.
Yeah, way to go, Adam. But I mean, like, ultimately, like, do you think that like microtransactions, like, obviously it's a type of gambling. Can you see people? I haven't even checked this out myself, but like, can you see people actually losing their homes over like opening up a bank loan just to buy microtransactions? Yeah, like I said, $150,000 to play Transformers, the mobile game.
I have a definite example for that. I don't know if you guys play any mobile games. There is one out for Android and iPhone called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
I think I downloaded it.
Yeah, it's a gotcha game, and I was pretty hard on it for a while. And I'm not even a gotcha fan, but whatever. I am a Final Fantasy fan. And so it was cool to be able to take these characters and run through this whole new story, this whole new world map and everything. But where they get you is that you buy tickets to get characters, and the drop rates of the characters are incredibly low. And I remember reading a story about a guy who basically lost his house because he had spent over $40,000 trying to get all of the banner characters at the time and to get the best characters and whatnot. And it's hardcore, man. Like, you really have to use your willpower to not get on that train. Cause at first I was like, no, I'm never spending a single dollar on this. And then I was like, well, a couple of bucks here and there. And then I had to shut it down.
It adds up. That's the thing, right? It adds up so quickly without you even realizing.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden you're $20, $30 in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 20, 30. Yeah. 20, 30. Yeah.
that was 5 minutes ago. Now you're.
I spent $50 just after this sentence. So
And I think like EA is probably the worst for microtransactions beside Roblox. Like my buddy Mike was telling me that, like, or actually Adam, you were talking about this too. Like if you want the chance to have Wayne Gretzky on your team from when before he retired, when he was like at the peak of his career, like it was, I don't even remember, Adam, how much were those? Were they like $1.99, $2.99? But it was just a 0.01% chance.
yeah.
And like more often than not, you were getting players like Paul Coffey, and it's like, who the hell wants Paul Coffey? So you keep buying these things with the hope that, well, 0.01 is pretty good, so I'm going to spend X amount of dollars and I'm going to up that to 1%. And it's just like, EA is the king for microtransactions to me anyways.
No, I think they are for sure. I was reading an article here, so it said I think in their third quarter, so October to December 2019, they made 900 million, almost $1 billion, and they said that basically they closed out that year with $2.8 billion, and primarily it was all microtransactions, and of course that was Star Wars Battlefront 2, and again just that. Anything like that, it's the loot boxes are the real criminal here. If you want to go in and find different ways to just augment the game for yourself visually, that's one thing. I don't really understand much about the FIFA, the Madden, the NHL, this Dream thing, because really you're paying to win now, and that's the thing. Like you stack the deck with a team. And you can get all these, like we all remember playing NHL 94 once upon a time, and you could even trade within, and you see everybody's little mini stats there. But to actually purchase and try to get a chance to get a better player on your team, which you can then take online, is crazy.
Oh, Clayton put his hand up. He's got a question.
I'm just gonna say, this is. It's become a huge problem, obviously, like the kid who spent all the money on his parents' FIFA team. But I remember distinctly being a kid and going to the grocery store, going to the corner store, whatever, and buying a pack of baseball or hockey cards with gum in them. And you never knew what the cards were, but you knew that there were certain cards in there. And you would constantly buy the packs to see if you could get the card you were looking for, right? And that's like, it's been around for a long time. That type of chance-based purchasing has been around for a long time, but it's on such a huge level now. Like it's not being I like hockey card collectors and whatnot might have got crazy about it, but it's just, we're talking about $1 billion now a year.
So here's the thing with hockey cards. You buy those hockey cards, you have them forever. When you buy, players on whatever 2020's FIFA, you don't get those players next year. They're gone, man.
Yeah.
Or the year before that. Like every single year, they want you to build the ultimate team. And then if you start looking at some of their numbers, man, like it's thousands of dollars if you want to get the best team. Like I get thousands and thousands of dollars.
I'm just saying that the model was always there, but now it's
no, exactly. And it's actually, I
unethical.
never even thought of it like that until you said that.
Well, but
at least with hockey cards, it's a little different because you get
the cards. Yeah, but in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, you get to keep those trash characters too, and they occupy and
that's awesome.
And they occupy slots which you also have to buy.
So
you're like, hey, well, I just paid all of this money. I just paid all this money for this character who is absolute garbage. Am I going to take him and throw him away? Because now they forced me to throw it away. So I spent my money, and now you've actually forced me to waste it because that character.
That's criminal, man.
Oh yeah,
that's criminal.
Well, yeah.
Fire Emblem Heroes is like that.
Like even talking to like Magic the Gathering, like that's all microtransactions. Like, I mean, you can buy the box or microtransactions, but you can buy the box and not know what you're getting and have like, I still remember when I was back in school, like I don't know if it's still like the most rare card, but the Black Lotus is like one of the most sought after cards for Magic. I don't follow that stuff. Like I got into very briefly the Final Fantasy trading card game, like the living card game, never played it as was at the
Just wanted
expo
the
and I was like,
cards.
oh, I'm buying it because it's Final Fantasy. I'm in the same boat as Clayton. I'll probably end up buying Final Fantasy 5 on PS5 just because.
So I used to collect they
5
had,
is
like
good.
Or
DC
7, I
and
mean, sorry.
Marvel cards. I had those. So we just moved recently. I found those cards. So I got like
That's
you get the
awesome.
binder and all that stuff. I'm going through all this going, what the hell am I gonna do with all this shit?
Keep it.
Yeah, no,
for
you
what?
have it. You
Yeah,
have
at least I
it.
have it though. Yeah,
You
it
have
didn't
it.
disappear. This is years later, right? Like I was a kid when I got this stuff. But yeah, it was the same kind of scenario. You go in, you hope for the best, and who knows what you get, right? You saw that with Overwatch. Overwatch launched,
Yeah.
and they were littered with loot boxes, and
Yeah.
people were just buying them up because they want the next cool thing.
Mhm.
No idea what you're getting though. So yeah, at the end of the day, Brad, it is gambling because you're never 100% sure what you're getting.
And
is.
it's an
Didn't-
addiction too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't Overwatch have a mechanic though where if you already had the thing that you had pulled up, that it reimbursed you in gold coins or something like that? Wasn't there like a
Yeah, a lot of them do that. Like Rainbow Six Siege does that as well. So if I have like headgear for one of my operators and I roll that, they give us these little packs you can get. So you can win them or you can actually buy them, right? So
Oh,
when you
okay.
roll that and you get the same or you get a duplicate, like I got a duplicate today and it just gave me what they call renown. And I just get that totaled in until I can spend it later on something else. But yeah,
Oh,
everything
yeah.
comes with this store. Everything's got this kind of roll of the dice mechanic now. And you hope for a cool thing. And if not, here's an opportunity to go buy something else that you can come back and buy more money and spend more money
Yeah.
on it to buy something.
I
Right?
really do miss the days of like even Gears of War 5 is the same thing. Like I remember playing Gears of War 2 and 3 where you'd like rank up to level 100 and you unlock all the cool characters from that
Yeah.
way, and then maybe some cool skins or whatever. It's like gone are those days, man. It feels
Yeah.
like everything is limited time with its battle pass or whatever the heck.
Well,
The
it's
thing
like
is-
yeah.
there's kind of a hidden evil in that too, that you say that there's zero, like when it comes to microtransactions, you can't validate them, or some people have a hard time validating them because they say, well, it doesn't give you an edge, right? And if it does give you an edge somehow, then people complain that you're a whale or that you play to win. You know what I mean? Like, so can't we all just not buy the skins? Can't we all just not buy
No.
that stuff? Well, see, that's
Yeah,
that's
no.
the thing, right?
That's not a thing.
I want, like, it's either you want to pay, they want you to pay to get that edge, in which case you get the best stuff that other people who are not paying will not get, which creates a wealth gap, I guess. Or you're buying these useless cosmetic item only, which just says, hey, look, I spent money on the game. I don't know what my point was going into that
Oh,
point, but
well,
I
it's
just
like
on no level are microtransactions good, I guess.
no, it's
in
like you were
competitive.
saying though, like even comparing it to cards, the motto for Pokemon isn't just
Gotta catch
just
'em all.
play with what you got. It's gotta catch them all, man.
gotta catch 'em all.
'em all. Blister
Catch
pack after
one and
blister
use
pack,
it
just-
all the way to the end of the game.
Well, even Pokemon Go is like that's microtransactions too, because
Yeah.
I mean the
It's
whole
free to
point
play.
of Pokemon Go is to get you out there to walk around and exercise, because Nintendo, let's be honest, Nintendo didn't help the generation of kids getting fatter. So like you're out, and I'm a perfect example. Like I played nonstop video games and I put on a lot of weight. Nate can attest to that. Like me, not you.
And Nate's
I
fat
know.
too. There's both of you. You're both
But
big. It's
but
okay.
like you like the whole point, you get Pokeballs by going out and walking around. People are like, I don't got time for that. Like they just want to
They
go and
drive.
buy all. Yeah, they drive, exactly. Like, oh, stop, there's a Pokemon, we're in the middle of the 401 and you slam on the brakes, it's like a level 80 Charizard or something. But like it's like all of those things, like even like I guess they came up with like a Harry Potter kind of
Yep.
phone mobile game
Hogwarts
that
thing.
was hard microtransactions. Like that's just what it is. And
So
unfortunately,
where do you guys stand on free to play games? If they have a free to play game where you spend what you on and you spend money and you know exactly what you're getting. No
this
sort
is
of loot
Clayton,
box
this is another
system.
thing for Clayton.
I have the perfect example. So for the last couple of years, I've actually been playing Digital Extremes Warframe,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
and I have taken that game to its nth degree. I've beaten it from one end all the way to the other. I've maxed out all the ranks. I have every frame, gun. I have a ton of cosmetics. Like, I have been playing the crap out of that game. And one thing about it is that if you buy something on it, you buy the currency. So now we're not talking about loot boxes. We're actually talking about paying for
It's like Ubisoft.
premium currency, right? That allows you to buy, anything. But when you buy it, you know what you're getting. The game itself was free. I have logged, I think, something like 3,500 hours into it.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like, this is now
Wow.
That puts my Destiny hours almost to shame, man.
Over the
Damn.
last couple of years, I have backlogged most of the large AAA titles releases. I've bought them and never played them. Last of Us 2, bought it, special edition, never touched it. Days Gone, bought it, special edition, never touched it, because this game just kept sucking me in. But the thing about it is that it was free to start, and then when you wanted to buy something, you knew exactly what you were buying. So at that time, I justified it to myself by saying, you know what, here's a game that I legitimately enjoy, that came at me with a full
Experience.
like a retail game, the whole experience. Yeah. And over the period of time that I was playing it, they kept adding to it, because they never asked you for anything up front. But then once, like, people are like, well, I want to see these guys make some money. Plus they're Canadian, plus they're from Ontario. So
Cool.
Hometown advantage.
London, Ontario.
Yeah, so I had no problem giving them money, because I viewed it almost like it was a monthly subscription.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely.
It was a wholly different experience than, say, Destiny 2, because I was into that for a while too. Like,
they gouge you.
I paid my $80 for Destiny, and it was like, okay, Destiny, now you owe me. And then a couple of months later,
it's 4 months later, and then they want you to spend more money.
Oh, but wait, give us $50, and now we
won't get into that.
Game. You know what I mean? And they keep doing that and doing that. So whereas they keep on demanding the money up front, and the expansions, as they call them, are lukewarm to, tepid. Warframe asked for nothing, and then just kept on upping the ante. And even now, the game has been out on consoles, I think, for 7 or 8 years, and they're still bringing out there's a new expansion due to drop any day now, actually.
Yeah. We have the food over in chat. He says, free to play is great, and microtransactions are fine. The difference is if the transactions give competitive advantages.
That's what I was saying about play to win, right? Pay to win. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Digital Extremes has been around now with Warframe since the launch of the PlayStation 4. It's going on its 8th year. I was just talking with Digital Extremes the other day. And the biggest thing now for Digital Extremes, sorry, Brad, I'm taking this off the rails again.
No, it's cool, man. It's cool.
I'm actually having me here, buddy.
I'm just watching I'm watching the time, because I just got the warning. So we're at 4-minute warning. So say what you go, and then we'll jump right back in. So it's no biggie. Go, Jude.
Okay.
It's all you.
Yeah, no, sorry. So Digital Extreme says their biggest thing right now, because they have a wealth of players. They've had 8 years of this game. But how do you introduce now somebody new to the game who has kind of realized that, you know what, this game's been around for so long? How do you start off? Because you have 8 years worth of content.
Mm-hmm.
That's their biggest problem right now, is figuring out that strategy moving forward. But when it's free, that's your biggest competitive edge right there, I think, is just the ability to jump in. And then microtransactions are for them an extra, but it keeps their lights on.
See, I recently started playing World of Warcraft, actually, and that's been a whole different experience too, just with the way that you play, because basically the game is free, but you pay for the sub, right? But in the case of World of Warcraft, they make only the newest content relevant. Like, I started maxing out a character, and I got to like level 40 or whatever it was, and I had basically made 60% of the world map obsolete, and they were funneling me towards their end game. When in the case of Warframe, you can still go through all of the content, and it's all still relevant. They actually did a really good job with that. So I am getting an 8-year-old game where most of the content is actually still relevant to the end game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you're talking about, like, you know what you're buying, like, and that was like the thing with Assassin's Creed and all that. Like, you buy the Helix bucks, like, it's still you're still essentially paying for better equipment, but at least you know what you're getting. Like, I mean, I through all of your recommendations. Like I've been rocking Valhalla a lot, like and it was a very slow beginning. Like I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to
Warned
do
you.
this.
Yeah.
And like as soon as you get to England though, it opens up, and like that's when you get your first introduction to, they give you 300 Helix bucks, which is like $6.99 or like real money, but like you want all the good equipment. Like yeah, it's like it was like Shadow of War and like the Mordor games. Like you could get these weapons eventually, but if you wanted them now, hey, you gotta shell out. So as Nate says, that's weak sauce.
I think Ubisoft's thing is they keep dabbing their toes a little bit deeper, because like you play Assassin's Creed Odyssey and they did have microtransaction, but their transmog system was completely free and you could do it all the time at any time. They didn't have armor. They had like 2 sets of armor that you could buy that looked really cool with real money, whereas Valhalla, half their armor is blocked by a paywall. So I think they're kind of they're dabbing their toes a little bit more.
Clayton likes those
really
paywalls.
Yeah, do I ever? Look at how much money I've got.
It's unique how Ubisoft is doing it though, because they, like you said, Brad, the minute you got to England, then you got 300 Helix points, right? Okay, crap. Now I just ran out of those 300 points. Now what do I do? Well, you go to the store and you spend more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they set you up to get good stuff and then have you kind of go, crap, I'm all out now. I got to go buy more. Like, it's just, you see the transitions happening and it's just weird to watch go, this is really what we're doing? What happened to the days when you had Nintendo and you bought Super Mario Brothers or you bought Ninja Gaiden? And dude, that was the game. It was done.
Was Super Mario gonna add like, yo, spend $5 and get the first 6 coins free, star coins free or something?
So, and he's the last one to join again too. He probably thought he had more time.
Yeah. So this is my question: what is your first experience of a microtransaction? And I guess, do we want to include DLC? Because I mean that dates way back.
Yes.
Okay, so that
you want to
for
know
me,
why?
I'll start it off.
Yeah, go
my
ahead.
first experience, I guess, would be the Warcraft Battle of Chest edition, where you got 1, 2, and then I think it was Tides of Darkness. Was that the name of the base game? Or anyways, they came in with the DLC nonetheless for Warcraft 2. So like that dates to the 90s, man.
Yeah, Tides of Time and then something else.
Yeah. The heck. Anyways.
And then because Diablo is the same, or Diablo 2.
But you got
Diablo
a
3.
full experience back then with spending an extra $20. Like,
Absolutely.
DLC then was really like awesome,
so
man.
You want to know who the biggest culprit? Okay, we talked about EA and all these things. Do you want to know who the biggest culprit is for microtransactions? Just Dance. Like, so like,
we should get Steve on for that one.
I'm just gonna say it's my daughter's, it's not mine.
Yeah, good cover.
I'm sure.
And so if you want all these additional songs, you have to join Ubisoft's online community, and then you have to pay $1.99 for a song. It's like, you know what?
Per song.
I have Alexa who just lit up because I said her name, so I just get her to play any song. And Clayton, welcome back. You're the last one again.
Well, I had to get a drink of water.
Yeah.
That intense conversation. Yeah.
But
I got peach juice. It's actually
Nate, repeat your question, because Clayton.
Actually, hang on one sec. Because the food wants to know, Clayton, why no Discord?
So you're gonna download
he's got
it tonight.
nothing.
It's
been
a big year. Hey, you know what? When everybody else is out there doing staying at home for the whole COVID self-isolation thing, I'm an essential worker. It's been a big year.
Your argument is moot. I work in a hospital.
It takes 30 seconds to download. I'm just saying.
I had Discord.
It's really easy.
I haven't really had a chance to get into it, but it looks like I'm going to actually have to start and drag myself into this century.
It's a good community.
Grab it now before you need a Microsoft account.
Yeah, no doubt.
You actually do, because aren't they paying like $10 billion or something?
$10 billion.
That's hopefully.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Nate, just go back to your question about of what you just asked.
My question was, what was your first experience with any sort of microtransaction or even DLC, we'll say. We'll make them separate questions because they are different. We'll start with DLC and then go into microtransactions.
I have that's a double-edged sword, actually. It really is. So on the Xbox 360, way back in the way back days, I played a ton of Oblivion. And Oblivion was well known for two things: horse armor and the Shivering Isles.
Yeah.
So in the same game, I got burned by the horse armor, not gonna lie. Especially since for whatever reason the armor disappeared off my horse after it died and I never got it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so rip horse armor. But and that was a burn. But then I started looking at like game magazines and online and stuff, and I saw Shivering Isles, and I am glad that I bought it because it was an amazing expansion. And so I thought in that one experience, I got the good and the bad of microtransactions, DLC, So I saw what could be, and so
that's actually a good point. I remember actually. I think I was a sucker. I bought some sort of DLC for Oblivion. I remember that. But
I can see it on your face. You bought the horse armor.
Oh, I think so.
They're not saying it out loud.
I looked at it. Think about wasn't there some sort of castle upgrade? I remember doing that. I'm pretty sure I bought that. But at any rate, my first I guess DLC was that I had mentioned was Warcraft Battle Chest Edition and the StarCraft Battle Chest, where you got the DLC for Warcraft 2 and then StarCraft's Brood War, which is way back because that's the 90s, man.
Yeah,
like DLC dates way back, man. It's funny to think.
I didn't go as far as DLC. I actually got an expansion. So back in my day, man, that sounds so stupid. I actually purchased the expansion disc because I was playing Red Alert. Red Alert had a new
CNC.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So they had another expansion come out, but you had to go to flipping like Kmart or wherever it was at the time and buy it from the shelf, off the shelf, right? Like it wasn't, you just don't download it. You had to go and buy the expansion disc.
And it said the little disclaimer on the bottom there. This requires CNC.
Exactly. Yeah. So I played the crap out of Red Alert and all that stuff, and then the expansions dropped. Well, now I got to get those. So then you go show up the store, pay your money, and then that's where it really kind of started for me.
But it was exciting back then, was it not? Like you were like, dude, yo, I'm gonna get some sweet new troops, a new story, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it was badass.
I remember buying games and getting the instruction manual and flipping through the manual and drive home. Right? I'm reading this. I'm just gonna play it when I get home.
I just gotta say one thing, Nate. Your brother Josh was the worst for that. So Josh would get a game and he would we'd all be up until 4 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night after I can't do that anymore, but Josh would literally sit in front of the computer, read the manual from front to back, and then by the time everyone got up, he's like, okay, and then he would start playing the game.
He always read the manual first every game. He would always read through it.
So I'm like my first experience with additional story content. I'm gonna go back a bit and Duke Nukem 3D. With all the additional stuff, just there was such. I mean, nowadays it's not even a good game, but it was just pushing the boundaries on everything, like going and flashing money, and you felt like you felt like you were the king. It's like
strippers.
I just saw really bad 3D moves,
pixelated 2D.
and then didn't they release a special DLC just recently for that game? Not recent, but within the past 10 years. Didn't they come out with some mini story? I thought I read that somewhere.
Came out with a whole new game. Right?
Yeah, Duke Nukem Forever.
Well, no, I know that. Let's not even talk about that game, but I thought to hype up Duke Nukem Forever, they released some kind of thing for 3D, but maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably not.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Adam?
I played all these, pretty much everything you said. I think going back probably with what Nate was saying, I think first for me was probably either Warcraft or it was the Diablo 2 expansion back there too. And again, same thing. You had a full game, you completed it, And back then, the internet wasn't the internet of today. Like, you didn't release something and then say, but wait, give us another 2 years, which is going to turn into 4, and we're actually going to release something. Like, you completed
one
the
patch.
game. Yeah, and then all
Which
this,
is-
yeah, and a giant day one patch.
Play online.
You completed the full 5 levels, and all of a sudden, like, you slay
Speed
Diablo, and
chat.
they're like,
Can you
yo, but
imagine
he's
a
got
giant?
a brother, you know?
Can you imagine
Yeah.
a giant day one patch on a 56K modem?
Cha-ching, ching, cha-ching, ching. Remember dialing into that?
Oh, my parents would be so upset.
And then
Dial up.
somebody
Oh, man.
phone.
somebody
Somebody-
picks up the phone to
somebody
try and make
picks
a
up the
phone
phone.
call.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Oh man, that's
the
funny.
days back. in those days.
I don't miss that crap at all.
No,
me neither.
Oh
No,
man,
no.
it's like, okay, 40 gigs, give me 10 minutes, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting Napster and downloading one song at a time that would take all night.
Well, you know, though, like, seriously, for like when it comes to like patching and stuff like that, and even microtransactions, it's nice that you can take a game like even if they may not be as complete as they used to be. I think Brad, I said this last time. Miyamoto said once, a good game, you know, a bad game rushed is a bad game forever, but you know, you give it time and a good game will always be a good game. But we don't live in that age anymore. So even though they released them unfinished, there is potential for a game to be improved upon months and even years after it comes out. So I mean, there is that. I will defend the industry on that. There is a
No
good-
Man's Sky, I think says it
Yeah.
right there, right? Like they launched, it was an absolute flop.
Yeah.
It was it just didn't hit the way everybody was hoping it was going to. Some people did, it did resonate with them, and others it didn't. And then Hello Games goes completely silent for like
Yeah.
6 months,
You know,
comes
though,
out, and then now look at the game, right? It's like it's nonstop right now.
I
Yeah.
played that game when it first came out, and I got to tell you, like at the time I was playing it, and I was offline. I was out in the sticks, and that game was not that bad. It wasn't everything that they said it was going to be. Obviously, there was
Sure.
lots that was missing, but you got to remember too that Hello Games is just this little tiny
13,
studio.
yeah, 13 people, man.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little tiny studio, and
Joe
Sony was
Danger,
just-
right?
Yeah, Sony was just looking for games to hype up for the new system. So
Okay.
they're like, "Oh yeah, we got this No Man's Sky." So they take this little dev team, and then all of a sudden they put them on the world stage, and they're like, "Look at these guys, they've got it!" And they give them all of this.
It was the
marketing hype.
lie, the blatant multiplayer lies is really what
But it-
everybody hated, because they're like, it was a 1 month after the game came out, 2 people on stream finally found the same spot
Yeah.
on the map,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
like, "Yo, we can't even see each other."
Yeah, but still, I mean, they got. I
I
feel
love
like
that
they got
game,
the raw end
I've
of the
spent-
stick there.
A good amount of time on that, like maybe a year ago, and even since then they've improved the game tenfold.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm super pumped about that game, but man, it's funny. Think, man, like buying games on like the 64, there's like these bugs. It's like they were just there forever. That was
There was
it.
a,
Yeah.
yeah. What was there was a Castlevania game or something on the 64 that like didn't have an ending or something. They made 2 of them, and one of them like tried
Oh,
to fix
man.
all the problems, but the first one was like so broken. Or Superman 64.
Oh,
I think maybe you
Oh, gosh.
that's probably the worst superhero game of all time.
you fly through the rings. Fly through the rings. Okay, now fly through the rings again.
Waku, what's up? Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate that. It's it's interesting to see microtransactions, because if you look at it, there's a negative spin, and we can absolutely go all day about this. We touched on it right at the very beginning of this, and then you get into, if you look at it, it also kind of helps keep the game alive.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you weren't still doing microtransactions for GTA Online,
Yeah.
where would that game be right now? 2019, they made $500 million on that game online with microtransactions. That keeps that community going.
Yeah.
And then
Red
we get
Dead will
into-
follow suit shortly. I have a feeling too. Like they keep adding stuff all the time, but it's the same model. It's the same company. And I mean, I really wish that like again, CDPR, they're
And
always
I was waiting.
but like just the fact that they were going to do a multiplayer and then they scrapped it because of everything that happened. Like, I mean, they could do so much with this world, and it's just I honestly think they've given up. After 1.2 came out, more game crashing stuff happened, and I just think they want to move on. Like they're just gonna take what they can, and that's it. I don't really think there's much future for that game, unfortunately. So But
Well, you want to know what? It was a completely new undertaking. Like, it was very different from The Witcher. You know, being a first-person game, especially, that completely changes everything. I love that game. So I think, hopefully, what do you guys think? Witcher 4 first or Cyberpunk 2?
Well, they're gonna do the remaster on Witcher 3 first, right? That's the
true.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that because I got 25 hours in and I can't play anymore because I got to go do other stuff. But I've always, ever since the Witcher series came out, I've always kind of wanted to go back to it. Now, like, well, now I'm just gonna hold out and wait for the remaster, and then I'm gonna jump back in and get on it. But
I wish that they would redo the second one or even the first one, because I don't like, lots of people don't even know about the first one. I mean, obviously they know that there's a Witcher 3, so there must be a 2 and a 1.
Sure.
But the Witcher 1 on PC was actually a terrible game. It was complete garbage. And the second one was good, but it wasn't open world in the same way that 3 is, but it lays a lot of the groundwork for the third one. But I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them go back and do the earlier 2 first.
One thing that I will say to CDPR's credit, though, like with Witcher and all that, is whereas you talk about having to pay for all these different skins, CDPR included all that. Like the only thing you paid for was the actual story content. And I mean, Blood and Wine was almost, if not longer than the original game.
They
like
were
80 hours
long,
just
yeah.
for like Hearts of Stone was only like 20 to 30
30.
only, but still like
thanks to food.
$29 for each one, and then you get the complete edition. But like all your cosmetics, everything, even smaller like 1 or 2 monster hunting quests, that was all free. And like EA would be like $5.99 to buy a silver sword.
Man, I bought the Witcher 3 Xbox One Collector's Edition. Like, I pre-ordered that. And actually, when I opened the case, they had like a big note, a big thank you note saying, thank you for buying our game. We have, I think they said 17 DLCs free planned, along with 2 big expansions or something. But like, there was like 17 free things that they just gave out. You know, that's friggin' awesome.
Anybody got the statue from that game?
I do.
I don't have it.
It's
Damn,
not
I
right
want that.
here, unfortunately,
What
but
Yes.
not in my living room.
Well, no, he had to make room for the birthday.
Yeah, it's like a month ago.
Yeah, you think you can
It's been a
pop those
birthday
things?
month.
Be like,
Uh,
so I just pulled Cyberpunk off the shelf, and there's a thank you note on that one as well, talking about future DLC that we'll see if it actually comes. But
Well, they've had to readjust that whole game plan now because the game's
Yeah.
so freaking broken.
yeah, talk is cheap, man. It takes nothing to print off.
it's a
million
collector's
copies
item
of
now.
a
It's
piece
going to
of
be worth
paper.
lots of money.
Yeah.
I have faith. I think it's not going to be the game that they said it was going to be, but I think it will be to a point where a lot of people are like, you know what, this is a good game. You know.
Do you guys remember though when The Witcher 3 first came out, there was a lot of people who complained about a lot of stuff, like the fact that the graphics took a serious hit. And then there was, I think Brad, I talked to you about this before too. There was candles everywhere that you could turn on and off with the same button you used to open chests, which were right next to all the candles all the time, everywhere you went.
Whoops. Oversight.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we did talk about that. So
They also they did something that changed the movement and the combat too. I remember they smoothed it out. They changed it around. So it didn't come out perfect either, but I mean, it's not anywhere on the level that Cyberpunk is. I mean, I saw a guy walking around on my copy of Cyberpunk with a cell phone stuck to his ear, and I know that it wasn't the future, just a future cell phone that stuck to your ear, because he was actually talking on it with his hand, and then when he brought his hand down, the phone stayed in his hand, and another one magically appeared on his ear. So that's not exactly future tech. Like, oh wow, intuitive. Yeah, I could really see us doing that.
it's DLC.
Yeah, deal.
You got to pay for that kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
But
So Adam, what would be your first experience of a microtransaction? Aside, DLC aside now, what about microtransactions? Buying like a skin or anything. I'm sure all of us have been sucked into at least something at one
Oh, yeah.
point.
Oh yeah.
So
Probably
Adam, you
one-
first.
Probably one of the first ones I got into was on not too long ago, but it would have been for probably Arkham City. And that, like, again, I'm a big superhero fan, and of course that ties in tight with the video game. So for me, it was getting like all the extra skins, getting all the different Batman ones, and of course I wanted to expand into the DLC because I really wanted to play as Nightwing and play as Robin and all the other characters. But to be able to run around with the same gameplay, but be like Adam West Batman and just like that bone crunching. You know what I mean? It was awesome. So
Wow.
for me, that was probably some of the earliest skins that I went after.
Oh, that's cool.
That's where you say to yourself, I'm an adult. I make my own money. And if I want to see Adam West Batman beat somebody up, I got a couple of bucks. I'm going to
That's
pay it.
That's right.
Clayton.
My first microtransactions? Oh,
I guess you kind of said it with the Oblivion, but
I guess it would be horse armor. Yeah, really. And beyond that, it was probably Brave Exvius that was like the really big one for me.
So
that I
how much did you actually spend? Let's do that.
Oh,
You-
on which? On Brave
On
Exvius?
Final Fantasy, yeah. Come on.
Oh, I don't know.
I say he does know. He just doesn't want to
Couple
admit it.
zeros.
This is a place of
Hey,
judgment.
that was a dark time in my life, and you know, my credit score is still bouncing back. Yeah, it was easy. It started off small, and you got sucked into it, and like what you were saying, it totally is a form of gambling, 100%. Like, don't go down that road.
yeah.
You
Drew?
can spend a lot, and they're not going to stop you either. They're not going to say, "Oh,
No.
hang on a second, man. Like you know, you've spent too much. Like
It's not like
just take the breaks."
Netflix asking if you're still watching.
I was just gonna say that.
Are you sure? Are you really sure? You
Yeah.
know, there's never a double prompt or a triple prompt on a microtransaction, eh? Are you sure? Are you?
You haven't been drinking tonight, have you?
Yeah, exactly. This isn't one of those drunken purchases. No.
For me, man, it's been so long. So the one I think that I can think of the most is probably goes back to the Assassin's Creed multiplayer. The characters when they were dropping that, the maps and all that kind of stuff. I was so hard into Brotherhood's multiplayer that I would rush home from work just to get a little bit of game time in before I had to go and commit to other stuff. So it would just be there, and the minute something dropped, instant gotta get it, right? It was one of those things. So yeah, I was hard into that multiplayer. I have hundreds of hours into that thing. It was, at the time, there was just nothing like it. There still isn't anything honestly like it, and I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. I wish they bring the multiplayer back. They just keep going single player, but that's a whole other podcast. But yeah, for me, I want to say it's probably getting the skins and stuff like that over in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood multiplayer. Yeah, it was so what a multiplayer, man. That game was probably
a lot of
honestly my
fun.
real first multiplayer too that I really dove heavy into. You always dabbled in with Call of Duty and things like that, but it was that multiplayer, man. I still have fond memories of doing that. We actually hook up for LAN parties just to play that multiplayer.
Nate.
My first microtransaction, the thing that really sticks out to me, I think, was the early days of Call of Duty. I remember very specifically buying a glowing green skin for like $1.29. And I was just like, oh man, that looks really cool. Oh, it's $1. Well, whatever, I could do that. And then like I think back now, I'm like, man, how the days changed, because that's like a $20 skin nowadays
Yeah.
in Call of Duty. But it was something I want to kind of throw out there. I don't know if any of you guys are Halo fans, but Halo 2 came out with a multiplayer expansion. It was something like 22 or 18 maps or something. And it was something like $20 at EB. I remember picking that up, and you could actually share the disc with your friends so they could install it. And then you just had to play your regular Halo 2
Yeah,
disc.
what was
But, like,
that?
man,
It was called Essentials or something. I'm sure I
I
have.
think
that,
it was just
actually.
like Halo 2 multiplayer pack. I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought.
But it was a separate disc, and man, I remember
Yeah.
like that was another excellent expansion because they gave you so many new maps and stuff. Some of the old and some new ones. So
Yeah.
what about you,
So-
Brad?
So I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. And like they didn't really come out with any microtransactions per se for any of the older stuff, but like Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, I didn't want to wait for the physical edition, so I pre-ordered the digital, and then I went and bought the physical edition. So like 69 and 69 at the time, and they actually have, like, you talk about like hockey cards and stuff, but like in certain areas of the game they have these gumball machines that are there, and you pay between like 99 cents to $2.99 of real-time money and take a chance of unlocking certain things. And Like I would say on Xenoverse 1, I spent almost $200 just on microtransactions.
Whoa.
and it was like
gaming.
and it was all bullshit things like stickers for your character's room and stuff. It's like, when am I ever gonna, like, nothing good came out of any of those purchases.
That's funny.
This is cathartic. This is like a sharing circle. Like, I bought horse armor for like $2 and you spent, you know, $200 on gumballs. We're the same,
Exactly.
you and I.
But yeah, that was like, I mean, there's obviously like other microtransactions that we've gone through. I honestly, that's the one that sticks out the most for me. And I mean, I always like, I shared a picture on my Instagram, and it's true. Like, you buy like up until the 360, like PS2, Xbox, you bought the full game. And then all of a sudden, so you got the full hamburger, you got the full meal, and now all of a sudden you get a hamburger with 2 buns. But if you want the lettuce, it's 99 cents. If you want the Best Buy exclusive cheese, it's $5.99. Like, it's just the like, and that was another thing. Like, this isn't a microtransaction, but it was producers and retail stores being smart. Mortal Kombat, I think it was Mortal Kombat, like the one that came out on Vita and stuff, but Vita and PS3 and Xbox.
MK9.
Yeah. They had Walmart had their own pre-order bonus. Best Buy had their own pre-order bonus. Like, and it's smart because, like, see, I'm a collector, but I'm not a variant collector. So I wouldn't go to 3 different stores to buy a different looking case with pre-orders and stuff. But they like that's, I don't think they do that anymore. I know EB does their own thing where, like, you pre-order, like, I'll just say, for example, Xenoblade Chronicles, like the remaster. If you purchased the collector's edition, EB gave you a skin for your Joy-Cons. So, but that was only at EB, and same with Mario Odyssey. If you pre-ordered Mario Odyssey from EB, they gave you a cherry Mario car scent that hung off your window.
Yeah. Actually, I remember that. I pre-ordered, I think it was Dragon Quest 8 for the 3DS when they remade it, and they gave me a real slick 3DS bag with the dragon.
Hold on,
Quest.
I got something I got something to show Nate, but just you guys keep the conversation. I'll be right back.
We have Eddie Player 1 in chat says, I save my microtransaction money to buy collectibles.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not a bad
I
idea,
respect
Eddie.
that.
At least you end up with something physical at the end of the day there.
Yeah.
Right?
So when
absolutely.
Nate, I questioned your gamer credit, or not credit. Wow, your credibility with Doom, and I apologize. Because Doom Eternal,
that was a mistake.
Doom Eternal was incredible, but you know what was even more incredible was I got a lunchbox when I pre-ordered.
Nice. That game was awesome, man. That game was like, totally awesome.
Obviously, I would never use it, but like, yeah, it was just like, and that was a pre-order bonus from EB. So
that's smart.
But like,
man, why wouldn't they just make it full size? I can't even buy bread to fit into that thing. I would take that thing everywhere.
Eddie goes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, nice. It's funny. One of the first things, I think this is like when Ubisoft must have kind of started dabbling into it with their Assassin's Creed games. But when I bought the Assassin's Creed Unity Collector's Edition, it came with like I think a silver sword skin and like a gun skin or something within the strategy guide, which is kind of funny because, like, it's on Unity, there wasn't really too much you could spend money on, I don't think. But maybe could you spend Helix points, Drew?
Yes, you can. I mean, actually, I went back into it right now. So I've beaten almost every single Assassin's Creed game there is. And the DLC dropped for Unity, and I wasn't finished the game, and it automatically jumped me into the DLC, and I got pissed and quit. So I recently started going back to it now to finish my lineup. But yeah, no, there is Helix points in that game. You can go purchase for upgrading your gear, because they started slowly introducing the RPG element to that one. But going back, Nate, you talked about Ubisoft and their collectibles. Assassin's Creed 2, I remember going, I could have got the game for $60 or the collectible for $80. I'm like, well, it's extra $20. So I went, why not? And that's when you now have all this behind me, because
Yeah.
that's what started, right? That extra $20 now turns into those collectibles now are like an extra $100, $150, $200. You got Biomutant that's coming out next month. Their collectible is $400.
Oh god.
Wow.
So it's just ridiculous,
Man.
like where you can actually take this now, right? It's just blown up from that $20 when I purchased AC2, which is still one of my all-time favorite collectibles. But
Yeah.
now it's just $400. Come on, Biomutant.
What I
Yeah.
find insane about that is to go to that extreme where you charge 300 now and you still won't put a physical copy of the game in there. Now it's a download.
Oh man,
Oh,
I got
yeah.
a good one for you guys. Okay, I know we're gonna get off sidetrack, but Halo 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Okay.
You got it.
I pre-ordered Halo 5. I went to my friend's
Yeah.
house, opened it, looked everywhere for a disc, and then
Yeah,
I finally realized it was a code. So it comes with
Yeah.
a steel book and everything.
and that huge 2-piece statue.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
man. So after that, we go to download it. He has turtle internet. I had to wait a day. So we go back the next day. We're like, all right, let's go play split screen campaign. Boom, can't do it. Let's just play 4-player, arena, Slayer or whatever. Let's just play each other. Nope, can't do it. That game, it took me until last year to beat it because I was that spiteful of it.
I just want you to know that I feel that pain on a spiritual level.
Thank you. At
You
least-
and I
I'm sorry,
are brothers.
I'm sorry. But man, that angers me still to this day, dude.
Yeah, that was a hard burn because that box is huge. It's a massive box. It's got a huge, really nice articulate statue in it, and it they make you think like it's the full meal deal, and then you get in there and it's a code, and you're like, what the like table flipping anger,
And the
like
steelbook they give you, you can't even put a disc in it. It's literally
Yeah,
just like full of
it's-
cards. Like
yeah.
I can't even buy a disc and like buy a regular copy of Halo 5 and then slap it in there.
They
So,
should have just
you know
put
what
a little piece of paper with a picture of a middle finger in it.
Yeah, really. Please.
It's Master Chief's glove at least.
Yeah.
No, it would have been the other guy's glove because
Yeah.
Nobody liked him at all.
nobody liked that other guy.
I know that Ubisoft too started. Well, at least at one point they separated the disc entirely, like the game entirely, from the statue when they did. What was it? Mirror's Edge, the second one, or was it? Who was it that did that? Who was it? that
Catalyst?
released-
That's EA.
The EA.
Mirror's Edge is EA.
Yeah, that's right. And but the statue came completely separate from the game, and they wanted like it was something like 140 or 150 bucks for the statue, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, that's a special edition. I'll take that. Yeah, but it doesn't come with the game. You're serious? It doesn't come with the game? No, it doesn't. Okay, well, I'll just
My
skip that.
Doom 2016. No, that one did. It was
Yeah.
Wolfenstein. I bought Wolfenstein and it didn't come. Like I had to buy the collector's edition. Came with the steelbook and everything, dude, with no disc. So I had to buy the thing separate. It was 140 bucks, same idea.
Mhm.
And then another $60, I guess, back then
Yeah,
for the game. So it's just funny. Like that was a weird time.
Yeah.
Collectibles have just turned into something so much more than when like they initially started, right? At this point, I'll be honest, I don't want a disc. I don't have the room for the disc. Mind you, I don't have a room for my freaking downloaded games either. But that's because Xbox and PlayStation doesn't give you a big enough hard drive to store it all.
yeah, that's a whole other podcast
Microsoft
right
wants you
there.
to charge you $300 for an expansion card to put on the back. When did you ever think coming into the next gen we'd be going backwards so I can plug in a memory card into my console? You gotta be freaking kidding me.
I have the memory
Man.
card and it's great, but
Yeah,
man, it's
Nate
still
loves it.
bizarre.
It's so weird. to
Pay
think of.
$300 for just one additional terabyte. That's all you get.
Yeah.
No, at least it's
Like-
speedy.
So would you?
At least it's fast.
So Clayton, you have to get Discord because I only got 5 minutes left on this one. Like, jeez. But
Yeah, okay.
well,
I'm on it, man.
Yeah, do it right now. No.
Right now.
So right now, no, it's all good. Would you like? This could be a whole other episode, and I at this point, like, which we're just going, and it's great. Season passes, like
oh, dude, that's a whole
See-
other episode.
we
Yeah.
like Adam and I, like, we talked about this before, like season passes. You don't get, you're covered for everything now, but the second the season's done, we're going to release another DLC right after that. So you have to buy season 2 for an additional $30. Like
seasons passes are the expansion packs of this episode.
Well, I just saw who's changing it. I just saw this notification the other day. They're readjusting their actual battle pass to only go for 2 months. Who the hell was that? We just put it in the news this week on the show. Oh, I can't remember, but they just shortened the length of their own season.
Shortened it.
They shortened it from 3
Man,
months.
extending it's one thing.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they shortened it to
wasn't
2
that
months.
PUBG?
Yes, it was. Thanks, Brad. Were you watching the show? You must have been watching the show,
I
Brad.
always watch the show.
That a boy. I like you. No wonder we're here. That's yeah, it was
The
PUBG.
only reason.
That's it. Yeah, they went from 3 months to 2 months now. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna still charge the same amount of money, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right?
How many seasons
same.
are in a year? Holy man, what's that?
Well, look at Fortnite. How many seasons are in the beta? Because that thing is still apparently in beta.
Yeah,
But that's a whole other topic.
they're gonna change it to a week at a time and call it a hall pass.
Hasn't even taken its final form yet.
No.
No.
Somehow.
I had another one for the crew here. I know we're coming to a close here, but Disney Infinity, etc. Do you consider all
yeah.
those to be microtransactions? I mean,
Yes.
again,
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
bought 70 of those freaking things. Loved that game. And I don't care. I'm proud, man. I got them all behind me. I've got 70 of these little characters. They're so well crafted. There you go. Right? Like they're so well done, though. Those were absolute expansions. Those are microtransactions, whatever you want to call them. But they're extra content. And the best part is they came out with Disney Infinity 3, and that's where, for me, it really took off. I had 1, I had 2. And then 3 allowed me to really kind of take things and move it forward with my kids. That was the selling point for me, right? It was so kid friendly that it was just my boys and I would just jump in that and we'd play for hours. And it was some of the best time in gaming I've ever had.
See, the thing is, like, that kind of stuff, though, eventually ends up in this kind of graveyard.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I got the girlfriend, actually, her kids had it and she was going to throw it out. I'm like, oh, no, let me just root through that. I'll check that out. But I've got hundreds of dollars of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
70, dude. I have 70 of
And now
those
you can buy
figures.
them at the dollar store.
yeah, no doubt.
Who
Like
invited
Beanie
Brad to
Babies.
this show?
It's such a downer.
Debbie
that's-
Downer.
It's funny because just as they all concluded, you had your Lego Dimensions, you had your Skylanders,
too.
you had Disney.
Yeah.
Everybody went through, and then like
Starlink.
a year passed, and suddenly Ubisoft is just like, hey, Starlink, and they were the only ones there. And now that game, routinely you could buy the base of it for $15 at Best Buy. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, you
know,
can.
it
I
just
bought the
dwindled right
collector's
off.
edition at Walmart for $5.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
actually,
crazy.
it's in Dollarama now. A
Yeah.
friend of mine actually bought 2 copies and gave me one. I told him I had one, and we forwarded it to someone else. It was $4
Nice.
at Dollarama right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd do that
That's
just to
sick.
have it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a
Have
Switch
the
copy,
digital
actually.
copy, but why not?
Avalanche completely shut down. Don't even make Disney Infinity anymore. Like they're just gone.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes.
man, they were working on a 4th. I was so pumped for the 4th one, and it just
Xbox,
never-
bring them back, man.
When you see the characters they had when they were getting into Moana and they were doing some other
Yeah.
more Star Wars, etc., they were expanding the universe there. It's a terrible shame. But Disney, just closed them all right down. I remember when it went because you could even at the time play it mobile for free, and you always had those little cards where you could download the character to your mobile game and then actually upgrade them there. So when you came back, theoretically, it was supposed to
That's
transpose the
It was
points.
one of the best systems out there. I had Lego
That is
Dimensions.
cool.
That one didn't jive with me whatsoever. Starlink, we played that on the show as well. And it's a cool game, but still, nothing was like Disney. That was the thing, right? You had one of the biggest properties and IPs in the world. What happened to that? But people just, I don't know. I spent the money on it. Man, they
know
got
what?
me.
Yeah,
Drew, I gotta stop you. Hang on. I just gotta stop you for 1 second.
Sure.
I'm looking behind you. Are those Adidas Stan Smith Xbox editions? Is that
Yeah,
what I'm looking at?
Xbox sent them to me.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 2 pairs of Stan Smiths, man, but I ain't got no Xbox editions. That is tight, man. Just
You got 'em
wanted to
with
shout
the-
that out.
Got him with his Series X that they sent.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear any bitterness at all.
Oh no, that wasn't sounding
I know.
bitter. I didn't.
No,
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's
You
the joys
kidding me?
sometimes to being the CEO.
Yeah.
Fucking, he's the glue, man. I guess what we've all kind of agreed on is that free to play games with no loot boxes are good. Loot boxes are bad, and that
I
they
think-
need to address them and figure out some sort of laws. It really sounds like the UK is hammering down over there, like on the whole loot box system, on EA in particular. So I don't know. I think the next couple of years it could have something, just some sort of regulation, man.
I did
They need to do that.
I did a quick read right before. So Japan has banned gotcha boxes. So anything that gives you a random reward, but you have to have all of them to advance in the game, is gonzo. Because I mean, again, you're paying, but you didn't get it yet, so you can't finish the game. China's demanded more transparency. So what's your drop probabilities? There has to be a percentile every time if it's a 1 in 5 or whatever. Belgium and the Netherlands have both agreed that loot boxes are illegal. They are a form of gambling. And looking at that, Belgium basically looked at FIFA, Overwatch, and went so far as to even ban Nintendo's Animal Crossing, Pocket Camp, and Fire Emblem Heroes, which sounds a lot like what Clayton was saying with the Fire.
Clayton's like, hold the
Final
phone.
Fantasy.
Ease up.
Whoa.
Ease up here.
No, it's which again, exactly like Clayton was saying though, you're gambling to try and get your characters. You do not know who you're going to get. If you get duplicates, they can fill up the slotted inventory, which you could then pay to expand. Now you can merge characters together and it does beef up stats, but
Yeah, but but let me tell you something. When they say that, I have taken like dozens upon dozens of characters and fed them into one character, and I still have more of them. Like I am talking on that level. I'm talking I have like slots for something like over 700 characters.
wow.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's a good thing that Japan took a hard stance against gotcha games, because I mean that's why I can still afford a computer.
Well, and I think just finally here, like Nate was saying, so the UK, last I've seen here anyways, does not have laws in place, but they've basically come to agree that loot boxes are gambling. So it's curious to see. And certainly US lawmakers are looking at it. Don't know where we stand here in Canada, but again, it's being reviewed. Until then, EA and stuff are just full steam ahead because it's
Yeah.
billions of dollars a year for them, and they're not going to go away as long as they're profitable. So
We
Yeah.
can't even get the COVID rollout vaccine, so I don't really think they're caring about gambling right now.
They're not worried about that. I don't
That's-
think what
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I am against loot boxes for sure. I am not inherently against microtransactions themselves, and I feel like
Clearly.
they're hey, no judgment here. This is judgment-free zone. I hope. Just that I think that they're kind of a necessary part. They're the other necessary part to free-to-play games that are free to play, but obviously like the people who make the games got to keep food on the table too, right? So they're like, okay, well, here's what we have. We'll offer you this. If you like it, maybe you'll pay a few bucks. Maybe there are some people who play a game like a free to play game and they only pay for certain things. Or like in a game like even like WoW, where you can like World of Warcraft, you can pay gold to purchase game time. Like, so that's an example of taking in-game currency and actually using it to buy a real world commodity.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? So there's potential for good and bad, and it just depends on your judgment and how well you use it. And I sound preachy now because
No, that's perfect.
No, yeah,
perfect.
I think loot boxes are the negative side of things, but
Yeah.
microtransactions and battle passes, I actually don't mind because you know what you're in for.
yeah,
Yeah.
as long as you know what you're getting.
Yep.
most times, exactly like you said, a season's pass is usually pretty clear upon what you're going to be getting throughout the course. Of course, like Brad said, that's another episode where it starts to deviate a little bit. The one thing I just, as a final closer here, free to play, what do you think of games that start paid, DC Universe, Rocket League, etc., that turn free to play? Rocket League was the one to me that really, I bought the game a long time ago, got into it because I loved the couch co-op. It wasn't even the online play.
Yep,
It
sure.
was sitting down 2-on-2s with buddies, you know, having it, everybody's sitting around having a pop, getting into it, and just loving the game. And yet now they actually made it free to play, initially stripped that. Slowly they allowed 1 versus 1 on Xbox and PS4. stripped it on the Nintendo Switch. It took them about 2 months to rebuild it, and now it's only 1 versus 1. You cannot go 2 on 2s. They don't have 4-person couch go up again, even if you own the physical cartridge. That one,
yeah, that's a different, man. It's weird to hear them strip it back, right? When they normally launch to go free to play, it's because they want to open the accessibility to more players.
Yeah.
Right. They got, okay, we're getting a little low in some funds. Maybe we introduce it as a free to play title. We can bring more people in and find another way to kind of keep the lights on. I can absolutely stand behind that.
I think Vigor's a great example of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just because, you know, for especially so many games, man, each and every week, there are sometimes hundreds of games that come out. So to try to keep your multiplayer game sustainable, like, you know,
Not
for
easy.
a lot of these guys, it's like, well, I could try to charge $20 and I could just be another person, you know, a game that someone just scrolls by, or I'll just be with this select amount of free to play games. So I think it's great, honestly, when, you know, games do that. It does bite you, or it does hurt, you know, when Rocket League does something like that. Like that's kind of
Weird.
that just kind of blows me away.
well,
actually.
that's I agree. Like I think like Tetris 99 started off like that. But if you want to purchase the game so you could play the offline components or etc., you have that option. And the fact that, like, I completely understand. And even when Rocket League went free to play, I didn't feel all burnt about it. They gave you all the skins, they gave you all the different explosions, etc. Loaded you up with stuff like hundreds of dollars of DLC and stuff like that, microtransactions. So that didn't change anything for me. It was the fact that they actually removed playability, which is not what I signed up for when I purchased the physical copy. So I was quite shocked at that one. But again, otherwise, I think online games, you know, the free to play model is a fine model. You know.
All right. Well, we're all out of time now. I always, even though we're on Drew's channel, I'll turn it over to him. He can plug his channel. Adam, you can plug your channel, and Clayton, I know you don't use your channel, so
I've been busy, man.
Actually, your rap video has almost 10,000 views now.
All right, what?
So
is that rap or rap?
Rap.
No,
if you guys haven't seen it, it's amazing.
We did a hype video for the expo, I think the 4th
years
year
ago. Yeah.
And like it's the most vanilla rap video you'll ever see in your life. It is seriously like backwoods, and it's the greatest thing ever. Like so.
That's funny. Wow.
That sounds awesome.
It actually is. You know, it's hype. It's lit.
He's not tooting his own horn or anything here, but
yeah, everybody involved in that thing was just fire, man. Like we were on top of the world. We were unstoppable.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make a documentary about. I'm gonna make a documentary about the making of that video and the rise and fall of our hip hop group.
Yeah, you still have to release the basketball video, but that's
I still have it. I still have all the raw footage.
Anyways, we're getting off topic. Drew's gonna plug himself on his own channel.
Yeah, you can find me and Nate over at InsideTheGame.ca. Over there, we cover the world of video games all week long, talking about reviews, news, developer interviews, even my shoes behind me and all that stuff. You can find us live on ITG Daily at ITG_ or ITG on Twitter, everywhere. We're just everywhere. The official ITG. Look for us. Man, it's been a long day and I'm done. Thanks everybody for having me.
Adam?
You could follow me, Svenny McG, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. I usually just get into a lot of retro gear and just a lot of different reviews of items. So,
Iron Hobo?
Don't follow me. I'm suspicious of everyone. I have a YouTube channel. I'll pull it out of retirement some point in time.
It's actually pretty good stuff. Anyways, thanks again for having us on your channel, Drew and Nate. Thanks for coming on. And
thanks again, guys.
We will we'll definitely do this again when we're not so tired.